I'm Brandon from My Seminary Life, and this is why I think you should consider going to seminary. But before we get started, allow me to remind you of two quick things. First off, subscribe and enable notifications to always on so you never miss when a new video comes out. And second, this is the part 2 of a 2-part video essay where I am talking about the pros and cons of going to seminary. In this one, we're going to look at the pros, but I have already talked about in the last video the cons to going to seminary, why I think you should not go to seminary. 5 reasons why I think you should not go to seminary. So before you start filling up the comment section with criticisms of seminary, rest assured, I probably agree with you, and I probably already talked about it. So please, if you haven't yet already, go check out that last video, hear what I have to say there, and come back and watch this one as I talk about 3 reasons why I think you should at least consider going to seminary. These are considerations. I'm not saying that these 3 things outweigh the 5 reasons why I think you should not go to seminary, but these are 3 reasons I think you should at least still consider it. First off, to get started, you should consider going to seminary because it prepares you for ordination. If you want to be ordained as a pastor within a specific denomination, then you should consider going to a seminary within your denomination so that way you are better prepared for the ordination examination later on. This is why, as I talked about in the last video, there is oftentimes a narrowness within the curriculum for seminary rather than having a very broad curriculum where people are allowed to believe are encouraged to believe whatever they want. Instead, you're in this environment where it's often expected that you're going to agree with the professor, and that is because they are teaching things that line up with the denomination that you are going to expectantly, at least, going to pursue ordination through. And they have certain doctrines and theologies that they hold to. And so going to seminary gets you ready for that. And if you've already been a part of a certain denomination for a period of time and you want to be ordained within that denomination, chances are going to seminary, you're not going to have this as much of this moment of, I don't agree with this. You might still have it here and there, but for the most part, if you're a part of a specific denomination and you're seeking ordination through it, you probably already believe a lot of what they're teaching anyway. Reason number 2 why I think you should consider going to seminary is because, at least for me, within my own experience, I have gotten a lot of practical knowledge and skills from going to seminary that I don't think I would have gotten outside of the seminary classroom. A lot of the resources, a lot of the ministering opportunities that I have gotten are because of seminary. And I haven't seen these type of resources or experiences offered outside of it. I am a better minister because of seminary. I talked about in the last video how there's a lot of legitimate criticisms of seminary, but one that I find to be more of an assumption, a stereotype, is that people who go to seminary are just book smart. I don't agree with that. I've gotten practical skills, practical knowledge that I'm not even a pastor. I have already started using a lot of what I've gotten in seminary within the different ways that I am ministering in. Even when I was taking discipleship methods, I was at that same time starting out as a small group leader at my home church for young married adults. And as I'm studying what actual biblical discipleship looks like, and I'm stepping into this environment where I'm doing discipleship, I was using what I was studying at the exact same time. Like it was a whirlwind of a season for sure. Seminary gives you practical skills and knowledge. Yeah, not everything's going to be helpful, but I'm still convinced that it is good to have seminary education and to go out and do practical ministry to learn how to minister. I love homiletics. It's one of my favorite topics. The art of preaching fascinates me. Public speaking fascinates me. But as much as I enjoy reading books about preaching or analyzing people's sermons, I think you become a better preacher by preaching, by doing it. And the studying aspect in this regards is kind of like a good refresher to keep you in alignment. It's like getting your alignment checked on your vehicle. So yeah, not everything is going to be super practical, but I have gotten a lot of practical knowledge and skill from seminary that I wouldn't have gotten outside of it. Third and finally, you should consider going to seminary for the love of learning. Now, with this in mind, I know I have said, especially like in the last video, that the curriculum can be very narrow and that there are plenty of times where it's not very intellectually stimulating of what you're learning. But a lot of times, programs within the liberal arts area, theology, philosophy, art, rhetoric, they're oftentimes demeaned because they're not big money-making programs. And to be fair, if you want to go make money, go get an MBA, go become an accountant. Don't go into ministry if that's what you want to do. If you want to make money, yeah, totally, go do something else. But just because you might not be able to make a lot of money off of pursuing intellectual courses on theology, philosophy, rhetoric, art, etc., that doesn't mean that they're still not valuable to you in other ways. I talked about a little bit how, financially, you don't get a big return on investment with your education in seminary and Bible college, but lives influenced, the spiritual return on investment is quite high. And your own personal growth and development, you get a quick return on that as well. It is good to intellectually cultivate your mind, to cultivate your emotions, to grow in your mental state, your mental health state, that is. And a lot of times we grow in our mind, in our spirit, in our emotions, in our relationships when we pursue these types of programs that engage the emotions, that engage the spirit, like philosophy, theology, rhetoric, art, etc. All that to say, yes, there are much cheaper routes in order to study theology, philosophy, rhetoric, art, etc. But if you can audit a class, if you can work on a graduate certificate that usually only has like 3 classes that you have to take, 3-4 classes you have to take, if you can do those things, or you have a friend who went to seminary or Bible college and you could borrow all of their books, you should do that for the love of learning. You should consider going to seminary for the love of learning, to further cultivate your mind, your spirit, your emotions through the studying of God's word on a deep intellectual level. So those are my 3 reasons why I think you should at least consider going to seminary. If I could summarize these 3 things, it would be this: it's not a waste of time. You should consider going to seminary because it's not a complete waste of time. Prepares you for ordination, gives you practical skills and knowledge, and continues to make you a more holistic individual as it shapes your mind and emotions and your relations and your mental health and your spirit. Like this isn't an absolute waste of time. It is helpful for ministry to at least consider going to seminary. Now, like last time, I am leaving quite the powder keg for the comment section. So let's play nice, everybody, first off. And second, maybe consider answering this question in the comments. If you did go to Bible college or seminary, what was your favorite class that you took? For seminary, I definitely have to point to discipleship methods. But for college, hands down, the best class I have ever taken was a class on the writings of C.S. Lewis, and it was everything that you would hope it to be. Maybe I'll share that story some other time here on the video show. Well, that's it for today's video. Thanks again for watching. Please like it if you enjoyed it. Make sure you check out the last video if you haven't yet already. And you can catch brand new episodes of My Seminary Life wherever you get your podcasts every Saturday morning. But until next time, this is Brandon signing off, reminding you as always that theology is for everyone, so keep on studying.